I know that there's probably like 50 videos you could find on this topic, but I'm going to try to go into a decent amount of depth with the game and just a few basic tips I'll be going over. I'm going to try to have more energy, and I'm going to try not to ramble at all in these videos. But first things first, I'm going to discuss operators. How should I purchase them? First things first, look at what the operator brings. And I'm not considering any of the Pathfinder operators. So from Sledge to IQ, Smoke to Bandit, they will not be considered, as they do not cost more than 1,000 each, and you can probably get them within the first day of playing Siege, and maybe in like 2 or 3 hours you can probably get enough to get all of these operators. So there's nothing there. And year 1 ops as well, because if you're on console, you have all the year 1 ops for free. So Buck, Blackbeard, Capiteo, Hibana, Frost, Valkyrie, Caveira, and Echo. You have all of them already, if you're playing on PS4 at least, because you have to get the deluxe edition of Siege, which is about $30. I got the Supreme edition of Siege, which basically got me all the operators up until Kali and Wamai, until these new ones are coming out. So yeah. Anyway, on to the actual point at hand. Now, what you want to do for buying operators. If we're going Pathfinder-wise, I would recommend starting with Sledge and Mute. Because they're both 2-2, and they both have really good guns for starting players. For starting players, you have the P226 Mark 25 sidearm on both operators, as they're in the same regiment, and for Mute, the MP5K. This is a really good gun at medium to short range, and if you're good enough of a shot, long range. And to boot, you've got a nitro cell, so a remote detonated C4 if you want to blow someone up. This has more area than a frag grenade. And Mute has signal jammers. Now, if you have a Bandit or a Kaid on your team, you can just place these where drones come in. Drones, those little things you have to see, tubes with eyes. Attackers use them to get intel. This can deny that, and he's actually a very powerful op when used correctly, as you're going to make the operators on attack go in blind. And Sledge is just very simple. He's got a sledgehammer, and it breaks any non-reinforced surface. I just realized how fucking patriotic my Sledge looks, but not for his home country, because he's Scottish. But he's got the lethal L85A2, and this thing is... I recommend everyone who plays Siege for the first time, if you're playing the game for the first time, use this gun. Thatcher and Sledge both have it, and I recommend using it completely. It's got very, very stable recoil and is not much to flinch. And his shotgun is also one of the best in the game. It's got the most operators using it, 5 total, and it's just a good shotgun. That's all I'm gonna say. It's your classic pump action shotgun, and it does really well. And Sledge also comes with frags, so yeah, that's an upside. And if you're going for a full accuracy thing, you don't want to have to deal with high recoil or a sort of volatile sort of playstyle, and you just want to have good accuracy and a good gadget, you've got the P226 Mark 25 and the L85A2. Two very good, accurate guns that I recommend any newer player starting out to actually give a try. And those are just 2 operators I'd recommend starting with. If you want to branch out with operators, kind of learn what their gadget is. If I were to make a list on what operators you could probably use at lower levels, I'd have to say the SAS, the FBI, the GIGN on defense, and the GSG9 on defense are probably the easiest ops you'll get very quickly. And then Fuse is also a pretty easy op, but And the reason I say this is Twitch, you need to be very good at keeping a drone alive and being discreet at destroying things. Montaigne and Blitz, shields play completely differently and have a skill gap. IQ, meh. I mean, it's basically Thatcher, but harder to pull off. And then Glaz is a sniper. Not as much as Kali, but Glaz is still a sniper. Alright, now that you have these operators known, like, what are the good ones I should be using and all that, yeah. Now I'm going to go over one misconception that you're going to have with this game. Now, there is, if I can find it, I know for a fact they've moved it. It's got to be in learning area. Yeah, the tutorials, this tutorial right here I'm going to play completely unedited, and then I'm going to explain why you shouldn't listen to this.
When defending, you can barricade door and window frames to slow down attackers and cut off their line of sight. You have an unlimited number of barricades, and can barricade as much as you want to secure your position.
Okay, that was all that was needed, was the defender portion. I was going to play the whole thing unedited. But I know how that sounds. Oh, I can block off the enemy, slow them down, and block their line of sight. That's great. That's wrong. That is very wrong, and that's what gives a lot of new players the misconception that Castle is one of the most powerful ops in the game. He is powerful, and when used correctly can be a very devastating thing. But he's not as straightforward as barricade every main entrance to the site and then just be done with it. Because the thing is, there are multiple playstyles in Siege. Roamer is the one that gets detrimented by the fact that you're barricading everything. And I'm saying this just to save you the time of ending up losing the round because you barricaded out your Roamer and they had to punch 11 times on a castle barricade or take the time to pull it down to either get A, shot, or B, not have enough time to defuse the diffuser. That sounded really dumb, but yeah. You can't do that. But if you are going to play Castle because you want to be more of a defensive operator, his guns are good. His gadget, his secondary gadget's pretty good, these two. But this is the main thing. Put them on windows. Just put them on windows and maybe a main entrance that leads outside. Then you're done. Alright? Now, if you're going about buying operators, I'm gonna just say you have the year 1 ops already. You'd want to go for the Velvet Shell operators first. Mira, and then Jackal. Then you get Legion, and then Ying, Zofia, and then Ella, Dokkaebi, and then Vigil, Lion, and then Finka, Maestro, and then Alibi, Maverick, and then Clash, Kaid, then Nomad, Muzzy, then Gridlock, Knock, whatever you want to say, then Warden, Goyo, then Amaru, Wamai, then Kali, Yana, then Oryx, Malusi, then Ace. Basically, how I name that off are the operators that are easiest to use or are simpler to use when you're first picking them up, rather than the other operator. Because all of the ones that I've listed off, they, like Mira, you don't need to know too much, just know that it needs to be somewhere near a soft wall at any point in time, and not to run both shotguns, because that's fucking stupid. Legion, because it's a set it, forget it sort of thing, and it's not that hard. He's basically just the easiest trap operator to play. Zofia, because of her grenade launcher, you can stun and then break things and all that. Dokkaebi, because all you literally do is hold a button and then you call all the defenders, giving a small audio cue as to where they are, and you can hack the cameras on the defense and take them over. Lion, because it's a press of a button and then you're scanning for the entire enemy team if they move, which is why it's best to use it in gunfights. Finka, because Yes, Maestro, because bulletproof cameras that have tasers in them and are thermal. Also, he's got an LMG, so you can just spray to your heart's content. Alibi after that, because she's a little bit more difficult, but yeah. Maverick, because he's just more useful. Kaid, because set it, forget it. Mozzie, because it gets more intel, and he's easier to use, and can be used in multiple ways. Knock, because it can greatly improve if you are bad at taking out default cams. Like, if you can't end up taking out default cams on your own and you're bad at it, Knock will help you with that, because you can just erase any trace of where you're going. Goyo, because Amaru is just very risky and not really the best. Wamai, because, you know, it's just Jaeger, but with a little bit more thinking involved. Yana, because it's basically like having an infinite drone. And then Melusi, because she's just OP at the moment. Alright, now if you're asking me via the, if you're asking me for the year 1 ops, just get all the attackers first, then get the defenders. The defenders are a lot harder to use than the attackers are very simple. Alright, I've cleared up all of the operators. Now I'm going to go in and kind of... I'm not really going to go into too much detail on what strategies each operator has, but I'm going to try to maybe explain what you might want to do. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to need to do here, but yeah. Let's just get right into it, and I'll see what I can do. So I'm going to go over a few basic rules for attack. I'm not going to go over any play style. I'm not going over any of that, as it is unnecessary currently, and I'm just going to go over a few tips and what you kind of want to do. This can apply to both sides, but I'm going to also go over a few things with attack just to kind of give you a little bit more of a feel for how both sides are going to work. But something I'm going to do beforehand is I'm going to explain what you want to do for kind of both sides, at least to some extent. And this is one of them, gathering intel.
Good work.
Okay, there's the biohazard container. Now, if you find this is what you want to do. Get your drone out of there as fast as possible. Well, like, just try to get it out. Like, once you find it, don't try to ID all the enemies. That's not worth your time. Just get it out of there.
10 seconds to go.
Alright. Now, the countdown is over. The prep phase is over. Alright.
Proceed to the biohazard
And the
container.
prep phase is usually half that time. I think I have it extended for this custom game. Take out outside cams, so that way it denies any intel as to who they're going to be dealing with. Usually you won't need to worry about this if you have at least one friend that might know this. And the reason I say save your drone, this can save your life. This little thing can save your life. Alright? Now on to the important stuff. Do not peek this window unless you're doing it this sort of way. And you're either Blackbeard, Glaz, that's about it. Those are the only two ops you should do that with. Any other op, you don't want to do that. But, alright, enough of that. Now, intel gathering is important. That's why you have drones on attack, and then defense has the cameras. But, here's another thing you want to do. Alright, I'm going to do a basic sweep of the room, and I'm just going to let you watch where my aim is locked to. Okay. Now, if you noticed how that worked, I had my crosshairs almost always at head level as I was creeping through here. Now, you're probably wondering, why is that important? Siege is a game where one headshot is a kill. No matter who the op is, unless it's Blackbeard, but even him, he'll be if you headshot him, either from behind or you just shoot his shield enough, he will die eventually. And what I did is I kept it at about crouch to standing head level. I looked across the common roamer's hiding spot for this, which is cocktail. Well, usually a roamer will be hiding here and they'll pop their head out, but since I was being cautious in this instance, so they might have been peeking it, if I saw them, their head would have been taken off. Especially since I already knew where they were. There could be someone hiding back here. I looked at standing and crouching, looked in here, crouching and standing heights. Forgot default cam, but that's kind of fine if you're mostly looking for enemies. Alright, now that is applicable to both sides. You do not want to, no matter what, keep these lower than head level. Oh, I make the mistake a lot not having these head level, or sometimes just someone bamboozles me so hard that I can't get them head level. Well, I've had moments like that, but yeah, you know, it should be kind of locked on. I mean, especially since I've played a lot of games where headshots either do more damage or are pretty easy to get, so yeah, if I'm just watching, I could probably end up getting it. But yeah, so another thing is you want to kind of, like, if you know someone's there and they might be holding the angle, like, don't do this for too long, but like try to take pop shots at them so it's harder for them to actually hit you. And say I've been spotted from this area, even if I'm not an attacker, or even if I'm like Knock who can get rid of that image, I still want to move. If you've been spotted, if you're spotted at all, or you get shot a little bit, move and relocate. I have just flanked any enemy that might have tried to come for me, or any enemy that might have tried to flank me, because the thing is, they would have expected me to not know that, or not come from this direction, but if they come face to face with me, I've got my crosshairs at head level, and I can creep around the back, and then bam, I've got some decent sights in the objective. I also wouldn't, this isn't going to work every time, but not a bad idea to kind of spray at soft walls that have a decent chance of someone being behind them. Usually this better works on attack than defense, but it can work on defense if someone decides to do it back. Now, here's where you want to throw a frag grenade. That would have killed anyone hiding behind couch. Now for anyone hiding behind the bar. That probably wouldn't have gotten someone, but yeah, still. And that could also end up not just getting kills, but yeah, that could also end up getting someone. Or maybe injuring them, damaging them, stuff like that. But yeah, so on attack, basically, the main rule of thumb is to keep, you still need intel, so say this. I was about to head into kitchen, and this is what you'd want to do. Now, this is the safest spot I can be. If I want to head into kitchen, toss a drone, I look up the stairs, I look over there, and I check kitchen. Look around in kitchen. Alright. Looks clear. I move. Because roamers are usually in either kitchen or they're in cocktail on this map. Now I have free line of sight to either flank any roamers that might be upstairs. Just go through this area for whatever fucking reason. Or flank the defenders. This spot right here, nobody ever comes through on attack, but it's a really good spot to flank from. And being knock, I can completely erase my sights from any cameras that might have been placed in there. And then just placing myself here and deactivating this can give me an edge, because I just went through that area and there was no sign of me. And then if I've got breaching charges, I can use them here. If I've got frags, I can toss them in the back. And if you tossed a frag here and it bounced backward, they might assume it came from there. So they might not directly see you. And if this whole wall was breached or something, or if you were clearing the room to make sure it could be breached by, say, your thermite, then yeah, that's also a good idea. Or you could end up bamboozling someone who might have been hiding here. Bam. But always, rule of thumb, always relocate yourself as well. Especially if you're playing an operator like Knock or a roamer, after you secure a kill, immediately relocate. I don't care who, why, or how. I don't even care if you're playing fucking newcomer, you want to do that. And the main reason is because if there's any communication and any half-decent call-out, you might be revealed and you might get shot. Alright, that's enough of the attacking tips for this basic video, and I will go into a little bit more detail with the Defender Part 2, and I'm also going to be making advanced versions of these guides. This will give you almost everything that every player, at least in Gold Plus, should know about the game and all that. And these are like different types of like play styles that fit both sides and all that. This isn't just general information like I've been showing you, or like the basic terms like a breacher, a hot breacher, an intel gatherer, or something like that, you know. Not, and there are really no attackers that do that, but still, yeah, like you get the idea, you know. Which is basically just, yes, that's here, I'm gonna make more guides. But I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like, subscribe and turn on notifications, blah blah blah. I've never said that before in my entire life, but first time's the charm. And then you'll be notified the next time I upload a guide for Siege. I might end up doing a periodical amount where I give a beginner's guide, basic and advanced, for new ops. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you later. It was at least somewhat entertaining to you, and I'm going to be uploading an alpha pack opening to the Bloodied Rose channel just for shits and gigs, but I will also be live streaming it here so you can see literally every inch of what happens when I open the alpha packs live on this channel. And the boys will be with me. They'll be watching the stream as well. I think I could ask if one of them could stream it as well on Twitch. That way it's on multiple platforms of just my disappointment being broadcasted to the world. So yeah, that'll be at the end of Steel Wave if I get enough. If not, it will have to be mid next season. But anyway, hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you in part 2. Bye.